27.
26.
25 seconds.
24, 23,
22 seconds.
21 seconds.
20 seconds, 19,
18.
17 seconds.
16,
15 seconds.
14,
13 seconds.
12. 11.
10 seconds.
9,
8. 7. 6. Copy.
5 seconds.
3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Subspace Chatter, where we boldly discuss Star Trek. Today, we'll be talking with Mary Rice, who briefly appeared as young T'Pring in the Star Trek original series episode Amok Time. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. So perhaps an initial question could be, how did you find the experience of appearing in Amok Time?
Well, it was an absolute thrill for a 7-year-old to be able to do this. So it was actually done on a Friday, and it was exciting to know that I was going to be able to go to LA with my mother to be able to be part of this production. And at that age, I really didn't know what Star Trek was all about. I really just knew that I was going to be able to be on a TV. And I don't know how many people already know my story. I don't know if you want me to start with the whole story from the time that I found out that I had chickenpox or not. But I can tell you that when I woke up, I was telling my mother that my back was itching. And so she was concerned because I have brothers and they had broken out with chickenpox. And so when she looked at my back, she goes, "Oh no, not you too." So, but she was really young. She was only 19 years older than me, and she was very young, and she wasn't sure what she should do. So she just went ahead and loaded me in the car, and we went to LA to be part of the show. And it was really thrilling for me. I remember I was sitting in a makeup chair, my first time ever to be able to be sitting in a makeup chair. And I was being fussed over, and I was feeling a little hot because, I had a little bit of a fever from the chickenpox. But we didn't tell anyone because we didn't know what we should do. My mom wasn't sure if she should just go ahead and the show must go on. And I, being a child, didn't know what I should say or what I should do. So I just sat there and let them put the makeup on, and they had hot curlers in my hair. My mother was concerned about the curlers. And she was reassured that it wasn't going to hurt my hair. And they just messed around with that a little bit, put in some black hairspray of some kind to darken my hair. And it took a while to sit there in that chair and get the makeup. And then they brought in the ear and got the ear to fit. Now, there had not been a child Vulcan on Star Trek before. So there was no child-size ear. So they had to use one of the ears that Leonard Nimoy was using for his character Spock. So they decided that what they would do is just take the one ear and they put it on my right ear. And in the original series, when you actually view it, the transparency of my picture was actually flipped. So it actually looks like it's the left ear, but it was really my right ear that they had put the Vulcan ear on. And when they got me down to where they were filming Amok Time, they were actually filming Bill and Leonard fighting. And so that was really exciting. I had to sit quietly while they were filming. So that was really exciting. And I remember the wall was completely red. So it had to simulate the whole Vulcan planet and everything in it. So I waited for them to tell me what to do. And after a little while, when they got done fighting, they picked me up and they put me on a table, had me stand on a table, and they took my dress from me. I had like a light blue slip on underneath, And so I was still wearing my slip, and they took this really scratchy fabric and they wrapped that fabric around me and they pinned it around my neck and tried to make it look like it was a shirt or a dress or something. And if you look closely, you can actually see in some of the photos, you can actually see towards my back, you can see a light blue slip kind of sticking out a little bit there. And there's a couple of pictures that they took, and one of them actually was just printed this year of me looking at the photographer. So that's new this year. I've never had that picture come out before. But last month when I did the convention in Las Vegas, we did have that picture available for the first time ever for me to sign and hand out. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. So they did all the picture. And then when they put me down on the ground, I remember Leonard Nimoy coming over and he's grabbing my arms and he's looking at me and he's smiling and laughing. He goes, "Hey, where's the other ear?" And they told him, "Well, we're just going to do the side view," we decided. And so I remember that they had like these, which, right now they don't look like big black boots, but as a child, I thought they were wearing these really big, heavy black boots. And right now they just look like regular black shoes. But I remember having that impression that they were so tall with these huge shoes on. So it was very quick. It was just the one day. And I didn't get to meet any of the other actors that day. I did meet them later on as I've done some conventions in Vegas. I would run into them from the original series. And so, yeah, so I did not get to keep the ear, unfortunately. That would have been a great souvenir. But I got paid like $58 for the day. And I got to keep the transparency. Later on, I got that. So yeah, that was my fun time as a 7-year-old. So did you have any questions about what I did since then or anything like that? I mean, do you have anything you'd like to ask me?
Yeah, so Tavona.
Hello. Well, I mean, there were when I'm hearing your story, I believe the questions that we're asking are going to be left to Vanessa, but it was just amazing to hear what that experience was like, and you have gone through a lot of the things that I've heard and added a bit more. And we were reading your child had like this sort of activity been something in your life, like where you were a model or an aspiring, or at least what got you there in the beginning, or did you know someone, or did your mom know someone, or yeah, it's just amazing.
Yeah, it was interesting because actually back in 1967, the TV guides that you could get in the mail or at the grocery store, there was a picture. I was told this is how it happened. There was a picture of Arlene Martel in the TV guide. And there was an ad saying we are looking for a girl to be in the Star Trek episode who looks like Arlene Martel between the ages of about 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. And my mother thought I looked just like Arlene Martel. And so she sent in my picture, a black and white picture of me. She sent that in and it was accepted. And so that is how I was able to get on.
See, that is really amazing. Are we going down the questions list?
Mm-hmm.
I cannot see the questions.
It's okay.
Okay.
At the time, did you think that Star Trek would be as successful as it became?
It's not something that I really quite understood at the time. Star Trek actually came on after my bedtime. So, so I would have to stay up later to see it. And I really didn't didn't know anything about it. I didn't see what it could be. At the time, I was more into just what other 7-year-olds are into, like playing with Barbies and things like that. So it really wasn't something that I thought would be a great thing that was going to happen. Although, because of that, my mother also had some professional shots done in LA. And the same summer that I did Star Trek, I was also on a show called Family Affair as an extra. And but it was a very small part, much like Star Trek was a small part, but it was a small part where I just played hopscotch with the girl that hit Jodie in the eye. I believe the episode was the second season, and I believe it was called The Other Cheek or something like that. Pretty sure that's what it was called. So anyways, so we did that. But as far as pursuing anything else on television or anything like that, it pretty much came to a halt at that time. As sometimes you start another chapter in your life and doing other things. And my parents were busy with the things going on in their life. So that wasn't something that we pursued when I was a child.
And you briefly touched on this when you were speaking before, but like I wondered if you could go more into like what was it like to meet Leonard Nimoy and William Shatner? It
was fun and a little bit scary because they were so big, but it was fun, and I loved the fact that Leonard touched me and laughed at me and had fun with me. That really included me. I think we all know that he had a lot to do with developing his character and the different background, the Spock's background story and all that kind of thing. He had a lot to do with writing his character. So I think that I felt very much included, and I felt that he was very happy and pleased with me. So that was a lot of fun. I didn't really get to meet Bill at that time, Bill Shatner. I met him later, several years later, and we really didn't talk much, just a hello and, that how you doing and that kind of thing. So I didn't really get that. Walter, though, I hung out with Chekhov quite a bit here in Salt Lake as well as Las Vegas. Very nice man, such a sweet, gentle man. I absolutely love him. We did get a chance to talk, but we didn't really talk about Star Trek. We talked about ourselves, what we're doing and things like that. And so I did meet Arlene Martell in Las Vegas. There were a couple of years where both she and I did the convention. So you had the child to bring and the adult to bring. And so that was a lot of fun to meet with her. And we did have our picture taken together several times. So yeah. And Grace Lee Whitney, she was with me at a table right next to me. And so we had a lot of good chats together, and she shared her memories with me, and she was really sweet to me and my family. So yeah.
Would you?
I was just going to say, I've met a lot of nice people. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Would you care to share something Grace Lee Whitney shared with you?
Oh my goodness. Can I even remember all the sweet things that she would talk about? She really spent a lot of time with my youngest daughter, who at the time was in her late teens. And my daughter would actually help her and cover the table with her when she wanted to leave or come back. She kept an eye on that. I don't know if she shared anything special about her relationship with any of the other Star Trek stars or anything like that. So funny, because I remember, well, I don't know if it's funny, but I remember the first time that I did the convention in Vegas, and I was with Grace, and we're sitting there together, and I said, my throat kind of hurts. And she goes, it's Vegas throat, baby. And I go, Vegas throat? And she goes, yeah, it's what they call it, Vegas throat, because of the smoke and the air conditioning and stuff like that. So yeah, that's always stuck with me. I always, whenever I go to Vegas now, I talk about Vegas throat if you start getting a sore throat. But so I don't know if she's shared anything really special with me. I know that there was Gary Wahlberg. Do you remember Gary Wahlberg was in the original series? He had a small part. He also does things like, what it was Quincy. Remember that show Quincy MD? And he was on there. He was like a police officer or something. And he had a table next to me. Oh, he was a lot of fun. He was a hoot. And my daughter sat with him and worked with him at his table, and also a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I also met someone who didn't do Star Trek, was Richard Hatch, who did Battlestar Galactica. So he and I got to be really good friends, and he would come out here and stay with me from time to time. And that was a lot of fun. So I just met so many wonderful people at these Star Trek conventions.
Yeah, Richard Hatch didn't appear in like official Star Trek productions.
No.
He did appear in like Axanar fan film.
He did a lot. Aside from Battlestar Galactica, the original, and then the new reimagined. Mm-hmm. And of course, he was on a whole bunch of TV programs, Streets of San Francisco, Murder, She Wrote, and just a whole ton of things like that. Yeah. It's been years since conventions, and it's just been awesome to get into the Star Trek thing again and join that Star Trek family. You know, everyone is so sweet and so kind. And it's just been an absolute blast. Yeah.
Tavana, you had a question in the chat. I'm sorry to have cut you off, but if you want to go ahead and ask that one.
Oh, yes. We have so many questions lined up. I didn't want to be rude and hijack our schedule, so I thought I'd put them in the chat here in case there was room. You were talking about you didn't get to stay up and see Star Trek because, you know, it was past your bedtime. And I had heard that the original series was not considered a family show like it was when TNG came out, and that it was after kids' bedtime because it had a lot of information, you know, about like sexuality or very heavy subjects that not everyone was up for throwing that on their entire family, depending on the age group of children you had. And I was just wondering when you said that, oh, wow, that is true. She was a girl then. When did she get a chance to see the episode that she went out to, you know, LA to take a photo for? Do you remember going, I'm finally going to see the episode I was in?
Yeah. Yes. I remember it aired in September, and I was able to see it. But you know what? I was only able to watch it up to the point that there I was. Okay, you saw the part you're in. And then I went to bed. So, yeah, because it was like an hour after my bedtime, I think, or something like that. So, yeah.
It was wonderful.
Who was your favorite character, not actor, but character in that episode, Amok Time?
Oh, well, of course, I loved Spock, but I also was intrigued with how Arlene Martell presented herself. She was just so exotic and so beautiful. Yeah, I guess Spock has really been my favorite. You know, how could he not be? You know?
He goes on a ride emotionally in that episode for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself being at all similar to Pring, or is she like a polar opposite?
You know, that's an interesting question because lots of times I consider myself more like the original series to Pring, a little more logical about things and such. But as I have watched the one that has just come out, I want to say Strange New Worlds.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Oh, wait, if I can, yeah. So as I watched that and I see T'Pring on there, and I thought, well, maybe I am kind of like that T'Pring too. But I think I can relate more to the T'Pring that was on the original series because she seemed more, I don't want to say composed, but maybe she doesn't seem to, I don't want to say like, the original series that she can't fly off the handle, because I'm sure she could. But I think I relate more to Arlene Martel's portrayal of the original series T'Pring.
And like I've been wondering like if any of the modern Star Trek shows like asked you to appear, like would you be interested in doing that? And like have you been interested like up to now? Like if you had been like interested, if you'd been asked to play like T'Pring again, like would you have?
Yes, yes. I would totally be interested now. Of course, my family is all grown, and so I feel like there's a lot more flexibility in my schedule. And absolutely, like I said, I have just felt so welcome in coming back into the Star Trek family and meeting so many wonderful people that I would absolutely enjoy being able to do something like that again. It wouldn't have to be anything big. But yes, I would absolutely love to be part of that. I have been looking at being extras on different things that are filmed here in the Salt Lake area. My daughter and I just did an extra for a Hallmark movie. And, it was fun. And neither one of us felt like we had to be right there and have a character and all that stuff. It was just fun being there and working with everybody. So yes, absolutely, I would enjoy that.
Like, did you you said that you sort of like grew out of it and sort of moved on and went on to different stages of your career, but at any point did you like consider just acting in general as a career, or was that just something you sort of like did as a kid and you might sort of get involved with here and there now, but not your ultimate dream,
Yes, as a matter of fact, I studied drama in high school. So I did do some plays growing up, and I even studied a little bit of drama in college. It's always been in the back of my mind because it was fun. But my commitment was not there. If I was competing for a role, I remember after I was married, I was joined a theater group. And before I started having children, I have 3 children. And before I started having children, if I was competing for the same part as someone else, I always wanted them to get what they wanted. So I wasn't very competitive. But yes, I did have it in the back of my mind. It was always something I was thinking about. I always felt like I was pretty good at it. So I did have it in my mind, but I just didn't pursue it yet. But like I said, now that my schedule has freed up quite a bit, and like I said, I do have 3 children. All 3 are grown and married. And I'll tell you a story about my oldest daughter. So I was due to have my oldest daughter on September the 1st in 1980. And that just happened to be Labor Day that year. And so I thought it'd be kind of fun to have a child on Labor Day and to go into labor on Labor Day. But she didn't show up on She didn't show up on September 1st. She showed up. I went into labor on September the 8th. what is September 8th? It's Star Trek Day. So she actually decided to come on Star Trek Day. So I thought that was pretty fun.
Thank you for sharing. That's really lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. So, you mentioned like that you've seen Strange New Worlds. What do you think about like the portrayal of the Pring in that show? Like, is that how you envisioned the character in the future, or was it like something different?
Oh, it is very different from what I had envisioned.
Mm.
But it's still really good. I'm really excited about it. And I got to meet with Ethan
Oh yeah.
yeah, I remember that was fun. Anyways, so but I really do like it. I feel like this is what this generation is interested in right now. We're going to write the script for people who want to see it and what they want to see, and that type of thing. And yeah, I just feel like, well, whatever the fans want to see, what they like, I'm all for that. But it is very different, but it's very fun. So yeah, I do enjoy it very much.
Yeah, because in TOS, T'Pring only basically appears in like one episode, and to have like an entire arc, an entire story behind Spock and T'Pring's relationship is super fascinating. So I can only imagine what it must be like to see that as you.
Yeah, it was very interesting to see that. I was surprised when I first saw it. I'm like, wait, she's asking him to marry her, and there's all these things. Like, whoa. But yes, but it's fun, very fun. I enjoy it very much.
With the rise of social media and information sites like Memory Alpha, there's a resurgence of popularity and enjoyment beyond the main cast to include production workers and appearances such as yours. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, to sort of be in the public eye in a way you may not have anticipated.
Oh, it's fun. And you're right. I could never have imagined that, because my name is not mentioned in the series. I mean, so to have it come up like that was really surprising for me and exciting. And I've actually had people tell me that they saw me on there because of that. And, they'll ask me, how come your name's not on the credits and blah, blah, blah. And hey, I'm a child. And that's just how it was back then. But yeah, like I said, I've only had a few people tell me that they've seen that, but I'm excited about it. I was really, really pleased that I could be on there, listed on there.
But I thought Tavona's questions and the chat was really interesting as to whether like appearing on the show had an effect on your private life.
I actually, if people know where I am, like where I work, they will mention something to me. They'll say, aren't you the Star Trek girl that works here? And stuff like that. And that's fine. But, and I've been involved in a couple of conventions and Star Trek things in the area where I live. But I don't think anybody recognizes me as the child T'Pring from Star Trek anywhere I go. It's just if I'm in that group, or if they know where I live, or that type of thing, then they might approach me. I did have someone approach me 2 days ago at my work, asking if I was the T'Pring in Star Trek. So it hasn't affected me a lot, and which is fine. I don't need it to. But yeah,
so that must be like really comfortable, where you're sort of like, people who know you, but you're not so exposed that you're like getting mobbed when going to the grocery store and stuff.
That's exactly true. And maybe that's why I didn't really pursue it for a career, is because I do like quiet, private time. I'm very much that way. So I don't know, but right now I'm kind of like out there, you know. So yeah, I do like to get involved now, very much so.
Do you have like a favorite Star Trek series?
Well, of course, I'm partial to the original series. I don't know that I have a favorite. Let's see what Strange New Worlds brings, huh?
Tavana just asked, what was it like showing up at the last convention?
Loved it, loved it, loved it. It
Was
was
that where
so.
you met Ethan Peck?
Yes, I got to meet Ethan Peck, but I met a lot of really awesome people. I just had a time of my life in Vegas. I can't believe I waited so long to get back there, but it was just so much fun. Hopefully I'll do it again in the future. I don't know if I will next year, maybe the year after, we'll see. But it was great. Loved it.
As is this interview. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thanks to the panelists for joining this discussion as well. And thanks especially to our guest, Mary Rice. We hope you, our viewers, have enjoyed this interview as well. Please remember to like and subscribe to the video, and we'll see you next time on Subspace Chatter. Trek you later.